Good morning, happy Monday, happy game week, and welcome into the number one group of six college football show on the planet. This is the Group of Five Guys, presented by FanDuel, and our mission is to be the voice for the group of six football programs, including UConn, the voice that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to be. We need your help to do that. Hit the follow button on all the social media platforms at Group of Five Guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Believe Network, wherever you get your best podcast. Subscribe to the channel, leave a 5-star rating and a review. Most importantly, tell your family and friends all about the show. It is officially game week, but we have one more group of six program we need to preview this morning, and then we're going to talk a little bit about week 0 and college football playoff pressure going into the season. Hope you enjoy the show. This is the Group of Five Guys, and we are coming to you live.
They got Old Dominion week 3, and ODU is by no means a layup. Group of Five Guys told me that, so that has to be true.
We looked at each other, we was like, Mike, the best place to be is a Group of Five. So I'm sitting here with the Group of Five Guys, right?
Detroit has won. It's been a winner, and it's a special place, so it's why you want the job.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
It was across there. You want to have this thing packed out, have the student section packed out, giving those guys hell on the sideline. I mean, that's part of it. I mean,
win or lose, like we're winning the tailgate.
There's no better place to be developed in this country than Boise State.
We've done it. We have officially made it through the dog days of summer, although it certainly still feels a lot like summer outside. It is officially week 0. We have games on the calendar. We have play-by-play broadcast announcers on the books. We are ready to go, and thank God, because I cannot take one more day of off-season news with portal. And we got professionals coming back to play in college football now. We've got to get lined up and play to get over these storylines.
Oh, without question. It's probably, you talk about the weather. Actually, I walked out my house this morning. And I got to make a quick walk across the yard over to my pod. It was a little chilly. There was a chill in the air. It's starting to feel like football season. But I'm with you. It's ready you're ready to tee it up. Week 0 officially starts. Don't listen to the naysayers that say week 0's not a thing. The Pates of the world that they're big on week 1. That they say they'll digest week 0, but then week 1 is when it officially starts. I don't know how you digest something if it's not real.
Well, Jeff, and I don't know why you would downplay a 10 p.m. Eastern time game on Fox between two playoff contenders in week 0. Because, and this is what happens when our friends in the national media downplay all non-conference games, because the two conferences that they love so much, they think are so good that these non-conference games don't matter. Well, you can bet your ass we're going to talk about it here in a little bit. Memphis UNLV matters a lot. North Dakota State, Jacksonville State matters a lot. You're talking, there's 4 teams that have expectations to win a conference this year. So what does that mean for the college football playoff? If you lose one of those games, if you lose one in the non-conference against another conference champion, potentially. So a lot to talk about today, Jeff, but I do have to. I know I just said I can't get over the off season fast enough, but man, this NFL thing now, you got a guy that's going to go back and play for LSU that played for the Browns like a week ago.
Yeah.
And my thing is this, Jeff, I'm in mid-season form, just being pissed off already at 6:00 in the morning. But we have these rulings come down with portal windows and all this. Portal windows closed. I've seen nothing but transfers all summer long. And then you're legitimately now removing the amateurism from college football with this business. Because when you decide to leave college, I mean, you remember it wasn't that long ago when you had guys that would leave early, and that would be a huge decision because once they committed to the draft, that was it for them. And now you got guys that have actually played professional. So now we've been talking for a few years now about, well, the high school kids, are the ones hurting and the JUCO kids, because why would you go recruit a 17-year-old high school kid when you could go recruit a 21-year-old kid that's played a couple snaps in college football? Why in the hell would you go recruit a small child when you could recruit an NFL roster?
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff, like, they're gonna make more money because you're gonna be one of the better players on that college roster, and you're a practice squad guy more than likely in the NFL at that point. So now, at what point, coming down the pipeline, does that become advice that agents are giving? Hey, man, I've been talking around the league. Like, you're probably going to get cut here. So maybe let's not have a very good preseason game. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I talked to Lane Kiffin. He's got a spot for you at LSU. You'll come in and start. Even though they play a game in a week, you'll come in right away. And then I heard Dan Lanning say it with the roster limits now, you're going to have to tell somebody else they can't play, or like you're going to have to remove somebody from the roster to bring somebody like that in that late.
Yeah, I give a lot of credit to Dan Lanning, and what he said basically was like, once you become a pro, you're a pro. Like, now he's saying we are not going to take any players that have played a snap in the NFL because it's unfair. It's unfair to the kids that are still there. It's unfair to the sport, the integrity of it. And this is what I was saying last week when we briefly discussed this. It doesn't matter what court rules what. If the coaches just get together and do the right thing, we're good. It will stop all this. So thank you, Dan Lanning, for being outspoken about it. And then you got some of these other coaches that it just doesn't matter the greater good. I just want to win now.
Well, have you ever wanted to root for a guy like Dabo Swinney at Clemson?
Yeah.
Like, who's basically come out even before this and been like, yeah, like I'm really not doing it. And that's where, like, I'm totally fine. Like, I think the portal in and of itself is a good thing, right? If you're in just a situation that you kind of got handed with a coach leaving or whatever it is. And I totally get also, like, wanting to get playing time or wanting to go get closer to home. Like, you maybe made a mistake. I'm all for that first transfer as a second chance. And then I'm all for a coach saying, like, man, we went through spring. We weren't very deep at offensive line, or, hey, our starting left tackle just went down. I'm all for, hey, here's another guy that happens to be in the portal because he wants to, he's in a bad situation and we have this need. Perfect. Let's make it work. But I can't stand. I mean, we're going to sit here and talk about UConn here in a second. You got 60 transfers coming in. It's not their fault. And a lot of them are because of the coach and all that thing. But I don't know.
Well,
I don't know, Jeff.
I mean, before that's just what the JUCO ranks were. Like, you get through spring, somebody gets injured, right? Before you had the transfer portal, like, you would go to California or Mississippi or Kansas, where there's a couple teams. But there's like 100-something JUCO programs in California.
Mm-hmm.
You'd go out there and find a guy, like myself, who I was brought in. I was like, we need a depth piece with some experience at the quarterback position. You want to come? Absolutely. Instead of, having to rely on a freshman. So, like, it's all kind of shifted. You were able to do that before, but now it's just opened up, with the portal, and you can just go and do whatever you want year after year. I just hope we finally get to the regulation of the portal, because we've made steps, right, in the NIL space. Now, if you can just get the portal part of it, I think it cleans up a ton of this. You get your one free transfer. You get, like, a special stipulation second transfer if your coaching staff leaves. But after that, if you want to transfer, you got to sit out a year or you transfer down. You go back to the old ways. And I think if you do that, it's going to make a lot of kids on the front end be very specific and actually do the research and be like, why am I going to, like, that first transfer is huge, right? And I think it's going to keep kids, especially their freshman and sophomore year, at their current school, wherever they sign with. So that's going to help with a bit of continuity. If we can get that, I think we're on the right track to get college football, or college athletics, and for that matter, back to where it sort of used to be. But we cannot allow this NFL thing. It's just, you can't do it.
So bad. So bad. But anyway, enough of that, Jeff. Hopefully now, I mean, I'm sure we'll see it in the middle of the season. Somebody will, it'll happen. Somebody will get hurt. It'll probably be LSU, right? One of their guys will get hurt, and they'll find somebody on a practice. They'll go get somebody off a practice squad. They'll find a judge in Baton Rouge, and they'll make it happen. Crazy. I'd like to take a look at what NIL these judges are making under the table, by the way. That's what I'd like to see, right? How's that happening? How do they seem to rule in favor almost every time, you know? But anyway, Jeff, we got to talk about UConn. So UConn, by the way, Jeff, it was only 15 years ago UConn won the Big East, played Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl, and was like on their way to being a top football program in the country. But kind of fell off a little bit. But then Jim Mora comes to town the last couple of years, back-to-back 9-4 seasons for UConn, back-to-back bowl appearances for UConn. Jim Mora now off to Colorado State, and former Toledo coach Jason Candle comes in to take over the program. I'll say this. I wouldn't think that UConn, like, that's a good hire. You lose a good coach, and to go get another one, you know, in the same way some of these schools that we've been talking about, Memphis, South Florida, too, like the way we've been talking about them, where you lose a good coach and, you hire another guy, might be a better one. Could be the same situation here at UConn, Jeff.
I couldn't agree more. I think you got one of the biggest slam dunk hires really in the group of six. I mean, he's 10 seasons at Toledo, never had a losing season, 81-44, damn good record, right? 2 MAC championships, if I'm not mistaken, bringing over a ton of guys from Toledo. So we've talked about the last couple of years with JMU, Sigdetti, bringing in a bunch of pieces, you know, Coach Huff bringing all his pieces from Marshall. Like, this feels on its face very, very similar. You look at this roster up and down, Toledo, senior, junior, senior, like 5th year. Seems to be a lot of veterans, a lot of Toledo guys, and then you have the rest of your transfers kind of sprinkled in. So can all that continuity coming over with him help build that culture early since he got there? I don't know. It's very interesting. The only question mark I have, if let's just say, you know, we'll go position group by position group. But if Toledo or if UConn happens to have an incredible year and they do well in the non-conference, not being in a specific conference, how does that affect them getting the G6 bid in the playoff? I don't know.
Well, and we'll look at the schedule too in a little bit, but before the show, so I mean, they play many of the top of the premier group of 6 programs. They play a lot of them on the road. So UConn, I wish, Jeff, do you think that they because I get it with basketball and women's basketball, it's tough, but I feel like there's got to be a way that they could go football only and join the American or the MAC or the Conference USA even.
I would think so.
But honestly, to me, the American, I don't know about women's basketball in the American, but men's basketball, I mean, I'll take UConn and Memphis together in a conference all day long.
No doubt. I don't think they want that, though.
UConn or Memphis?
No, UConn.
Yeah, I know. Well, they are look, this is a football show, but they are for especially men's and women's, like you're probably the best basketball program in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, when you combine the two, I don't know, maybe Carolina or Duke or somebody's up there, but anyway, Jeff, they lose Fagiano, quarterback. They lose a bunch of guys. Skylar Bell, the top wide receiver. There's kind of a QB battle right now. So again, I mean that's been the question mark every team we've previewed all off season. So we're at 60 or 61 now, and that's the question: who's the quarterback? Did we know it was going to be the quarterback going into the season? Are they going to try two quarterbacks? They bring in Jake Merklinger from Tennessee and Caleb Osborne from Toledo, both kind of prototype, tall, big kids.
Yeah, bigger guys. I mean, Osborne coming over from Toledo, he can run. He's athletic. We saw him last year. 7 games in his time at Toledo. 427 passing yards, did have 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. You love that. Another 262 yards on the ground. So I just have a feeling that with the style of offense that they run, you're going to probably trot out Osborne, having that familiarity with Jason Candle and that offense. I feel like it's going to be him, but you just never know. You got to see, what that battle looks like throughout camp. Kenji Christian comes over from Toledo. I think he'll kind of be the guy, but you also get Trey Cornish coming over from Central Michigan, who I thought at times last year, 6.8 yards per carry, he'd get the ball, and it felt like every time he'd touch it, he'd have a big run. So I love the running back room. Wide receiver, again, Porter is the only guy back that is a UConn Husky. But you get Willoughby, who's a Toledo guy, Allen, who's a Toledo guy, and then you get this Kai Wilson kid from Youngstown State. He's one you got to keep an eye out for. I think he's a game changer, not only at the receiver kind of slot position, but in the return game as well.
Yeah, Jeff, we've got to pause the show here for a second because I don't know if you notice who's in the chat today.
I noticed.
I mean, for the love of God, numbers matter in football. Steeple _PC _51. Welcome back, my friend.
No doubt.
Welcome back. We have a legend of the show, legendary voicemail lever in the chat right now. So we can get back to those. I expect to see by Monday of next week a voicemail from Steeple, a voicemail from Joe. Let's get this thing started the right way.
That's right. Get it cranked up. And if you're watching on Twitter or Facebook, come on over to YouTube. It's a great live chat. We got Joe Judkins in there, Juan's in there, obviously Steeple, Morgan Foss is in there. So we got a great Monday morning YouTube live chat. It's fun.
Yeah, and Jeff, you mentioned Kenji Christian in the running back room. The offensive line is like they brought in 10 transfers on the offensive line. So you got to figure which combination of those 10 is Jason Candle going to go with. Now, if you talk to O-line coaches across the country, some of them they want this guy plays tackle, this guy plays guard. And then you got other coaches that'll be like, we were always sort of like this. We're like, we're just going to put the best 5 out there and figure out what combination works, where we're going to put them. So we'll see what Candle does with this UConn team. But Jeff, I think the defense is going to be pretty damn good, Jeff.
I agree with you. And just to hit on the offensive line real quick, Sprouse, 6'5", 6'5", 6'6", 6'5", all just about 300 pounds or more. So again, just because they're big doesn't mean they can move, but Toledo, UConn, and then you get a Marshall transfer coming over who I think will be pretty good. So, I don't know. You get a big physical offensive line. You get those 2 running backs. You get the quarterback who can also, contribute to the run game. I don't know. The more I kind of looked at this roster, and then once we get in their schedule, I kind of felt like they may be able to hit in year 1.
Well, and that's where I wish they were in a conference, because it's the schedule combination is kind of like they're playing everybody, which is cool. It reminds me of when you get the really good high school teams that have to go play other teams across the country, but and that's what they've got to do since they don't have a conference. But Jeff, it's interesting too, when you were talking about the running backs, I meant to bring this up. I think these coaches, like with the portal, and this is where this is not to talk good or bad about the portal, but this is where I think you have to be as a coach to manage it well. It's like when you go play Central Michigan, you think, God, that running back was a pain in our ass this week. Just jot that down. Let me just keep that in my back pocket, because when it comes time to look at the portal, like how many times do you see that, right? You see players follow their coach from one program to another, but then you often see players that played against that coach in the previous role in the previous conference, they also go. Because I'm telling you, guys like Candle and all these coaches, they play somebody and they think, God, that guy was a pain in the ass. I don't remember who he was, but that defensive end was really damn good when we played this FCS game in week 1, right? They know that. And you know how these coaches are too, Jeff. They remember every kid they ever recruited for the past 40 years. They remember their high school, everything about them. So that's when you get a transfer that came from your previous conference, not your previous team, you know the coach has some type of, affection for that player. So anyway, going back to the defense. I like this linebacker from Toledo, Kayvon Sherman. He was Toledo's leading tackler last year. 93 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. I mean, that's your guy, right? That's your disruptor. That's your pass rusher, but that's also your guy that's making every tackle when it's not in the backfield. So look for him to be just all over the place. They're pretty big on the defensive line. So you're looking for those guys to eat up some double teams and get guys like Sherman to be the ones making the tackle. That's why those guys have 100 tackles, right? Because you might have a good interior defensive lineman where the guard center can't get to the second level, something like that. But I think they're going to be pretty good defensively, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree. And their secondary, is returning a couple pieces from a year ago. And then you also get the Toledo guys coming over. And then Jaden Davis comes over from Fresno State, who had 11 starts and 88 tackles. So talk about the defensive line. You got the one linebacker to kind of lead the show. And then it seems like you got a veteran group. They're all two fifth-year guys and a couple juniors in there that have played a lot of football. So you got some continuity with the UConn guys coming back and familiar with the program where you're at. You get the Toledo guys coming over with that. And then you bring in some veteran presence that have played a lot of football. Again, a lot of similarities what we've seen, especially with Indiana, right? A lot of fifth-year old roster type guys that have played a lot of football, that are grown men, that are more mature, that have figured out their process on how to work hard, how to get this thing right, how to be ready, how to stay healthy, all the things that freshmen and sophomores are kind of learning, or inexperienced guys that are learning. And you get a very veteran group on both sides of the ball.
UConn could really, really throw a wrench in the CFP committee's plans if they were to come out with a 10, 11-win season. They could really, really mess people's plans up because you'd still have to put your conference champions in. And then you get UConn, who would not be a conference champion, but would be pretty good with a pretty good resume if they were to go 10 or 11 wins, Jeff. But if you want, let's look at the schedule. Because I think I'm with you. I think it's manageable. But I don't think I think it's pretty damn tough. I mean, I think if you were to run through this schedule with 10, 11 wins, I think you got a really good chance at a CFP bid, Jeff.
I agree.
I mean, you're at Lafayette, or you're home versus Lafayette to start the season. You do get Maryland at home. Interesting. Maryland is one where, I don't really know, although I did see our boy Herb Street talking about their quarterback the other day, being one of the guys flying under the radar. So maybe there's some expectation for Maryland this year. At Southern Miss. Southern Miss probably going to be down. But then, Jeff, this is where I think it gets tough for them because they play. It's not the P4 games. I think their P4 games are three of their easier ones on the schedule, right? I mean, Syracuse is not going to scare anybody, but they're at Miami of Ohio. Okay, that'll be tough. One of the premier MAC programs. Versus Syracuse, you're at Temple, who I think is going to be a bit better. And that's a big game to me because we were talking all last year about these teams up in the Northeast. Temple, Delaware, UConn, starting to have some better years, starting to trend a little bit. To me, that's a big-time game, going over to Philly to play at Temple. UMass, I mean, same thing being in the Northeast, but UMass is not good. But this stretch here, Jeff, at Air Force on Halloween, number one, the travel, altitude, plus just playing Air Force, not going to be easy. Then you get North Carolina at home. What do you think? How about them getting Maryland, North Carolina, both going up there?
Yeah.
You get North Carolina at home, who North Carolina's not very good. But then, again, you get James Madison, Old Dominion, and then at Wyoming. I just think you're at Air Force, North Carolina, James Madison, Old Dominion. I mean, you're getting two of the best Sun Belt teams, one of the better Mountain West teams. Wyoming is always tough, especially on the road. So, I mean, I don't think it's impossible, but I think you're getting the best of a couple different conferences if you're UConn.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that point. The thing I'll say about it is the FanDuel has them at 5.5 wins currently as it sits. Maryland's going to be tough, but I think Southern Miss is a win. You're on the road at Miami, but if somebody knows Miami and Chuck Barton, it's going to be Jason Candle. Somehow you get Maryland, Syracuse, UMass, North Carolina, JMU, and ODU all at home. So, if you're looking at a favorable slate of where you play, road games and home games, your toughest matchups outside of Miami really are at home.
Yeah.
Now, I like Wyoming. I think they're going to be much improved from a year ago, and you have to go to Laramie. But I don't know. I just looking at their roster with a very veteran senior team, and then looking at their schedule, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could be a 2-loss team. Now, Vegas is typically not that wrong.
Yeah.
5.5. But I think I could absolutely see Candle coming in and being a 7-8 win team in a bowl first year bowl, team.
Yeah. So you're taking that over.
I like the over a lot. I mean, I like the over a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the thing. They'll beat Lafayette. They'll beat Southern Miss. They'll beat UMass. So to me, there's 3 for sure.
Yeah.
And then what do you got? Syracuse and Maryland? Are those and North Carolina?
Temple and Miami, I think, are 2 games that are very winnable. And that would get you to 5. Air Force is a toss-up with the option.
Mm-hmm.
If James Madison is what everybody thinks they are, I still just have a lot of reservations about that roster. And then your Wyoming game at the end of the year. That'd be 6-7, something like that.
Nice job. Yeah, man. We'll see. And that's my fault for not knowing enough about North Carolina. All I know about North Carolina is it's a dumpster fire inside that building. Syracuse, they were not very good last year. I know, their coach, they had a pretty decent year the year before. And then Maryland, I don't know. So I think those 3 are kind of toss-up games too, really.
Yeah.
I don't think they're getting James Madison or Old Dominion. Maybe though, at home they get them. I don't know, man. It's tough. Yeah, 6 wins seems pretty doable.
I think so. I'm fired up though. I'm excited to see what UConn has with Jason Candle in year 1.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like them too. And we'll for the UConn faithful out there, we will do a better job talking about the Huskies this year, especially if they start winning a bunch of games. They won 9 games the last 2 years, so are bad, for not covering them enough. Well, Jeff, we got some good games week 0. We've been talking about them for several weeks on the show, sort of preparing for these. We're not going to preview the games per se, but we're going to talk a little bit about some of those games and some of the teams that have pressure going into the season. And to me, I think this is the best week 0 game we've ever had. This Memphis at UNLV game. And I think there's pressure here because this is the national spotlight game. It's the primetime game, week 0. It's 10 o'clock Eastern. It's a late game on Fox. Unfortunately, Jeff, I already looked. We are not going to get a Gus Johnson call.
Darn it.
Yeah, I know. We are not going to get a Gus Johnson call on Memphis UNLV. I think we get Tim Brando and that crew. Now, and here's what I'll challenge people that are not Group of 6 fans that always say, oh, you just watching it. Look, watch that game. Watch the broadcast. Tell me it doesn't look like big-time CFP level football. And if you come away from it thinking that, then hey, good on you, I guess. But I do think there's pressure here because it is national spotlight. So it'll be the game that everybody remembers. So even if whatever happens in this game, let's just pretend even if Memphis loses this game and wins out the rest of the season and wins the American, nobody's that's going to have an opinion is going to watch Memphis or UNLV after this. And then they'll watch the American championship game, maybe. If If it's on Friday again, they'll watch it. And then they'll remember, oh, but Memphis, I watched them play UNLV week 0. They're terrible. That's why I think there's pressure. Like, I think there's pressure to deliver in week 0 for both of these teams, where there's not pressure for anybody else to deliver this early in the season.
Yeah, and the thing that's going to be difficult is you have 1 week less of practice, right? So you're going to see some mental mistakes. You'll probably see some broken coverages at times. But the question mark for me is this is Mullen's second year with the program. Everyone's picking you to be the favorite of your conference, and then you get Huff coming over to Memphis, bringing a lot of his, kind of repeat process from Marshall to Southern Miss now to Memphis. You get the biggest NIL budget probably in the group of 6, has been known to be ready right away and flip a roster. So you have kind of this contrast, but I don't know. Defense typically holds up early in the season. And we talked about in our American preview show how that Memphis Tiger defense, with all the pieces that were brought over, Jamon Tapp, those guys, can they disrupt a UNLV offense early on to cause issues, maybe cause a turnover, and take the momentum right away? I think it's possible.
I think Vegas is going to be rocking for that game,
I
man.
hope so.
I do too. I really hope so. And by the way, it might be somber, but they might be trending positive with the Genty news. Appears to
Thank
just be a
God.
sprained ankle.
I hope that's all it is. I can't express. I was talking to my brother, and I was just like, "What to be an Oakland / Las Vegas Raiders fan? It is like so frustrating and demoralizing. Like, we didn't even get to the season yet, and our top guy gets hurt in practice, where he's got to be helped off the field. But yeah, it looks like a sprained ankle. Hopefully, no knee damage, or hopefully they're not withholding information. But
yeah.
Anyways,
Well, Jeff, it's almost as frustrating as being a Dolphins fan. We ain't got a top guy to get hurt. I mean, we although we are relying on another G6 guy, Liberty quarterback Malik Willis, has apparently looked good in preseason. Yeah, but I also do think, though, Jeff, I think Memphis has a better chance to recover after a loss than UNLV would, just because the American perception of how good it is, and it is good, especially now that UNLV is in this Mountain West that does not have Boise, Fresno, San Diego State, and all those teams. So I think with a loss, UNLV really has a long way to climb, where Memphis, they go play Boise in 2 weeks, and they could turn their season around real quick.
Well, let's look at Memphis's schedule real quick. You mentioned that if they happen to drop, they go immediately on the road to Hawaii, at North Texas, right? So they also play Cal. You get North Dakota State at home. Yeah, I agree. Like, if you lose to Memphis, there's not Cal would be a decent win, but in the eyes of the committee, probably not. In the general public, probably not, as opposed to Memphis, like you're saying, if they take down Boise in a few weeks, because Boise is one of the favorites, according, just they're blue blood, G6 blue blood. They're always in the conversation for the CFP race, and that's kind of who I think the committee wants it to be most years. Yeah, I agree with you on that point.
Yeah. And then you look at Jacksonville State, North Dakota State. I don't think there's really a ton of pressure here for either team. I think it's year one for North Dakota State, and I think Jacksonville State, I think the world has awakened to the fact that going up there is going to be tough. So I don't think there's any, and I don't really think either of those teams have playoff expectations. They got conference expectations, but I don't know that either of those teams have playoff expectations. So like a loss there to a top non-conference opponent, I don't think you got any pressure in that game.
No, I don't know if you have CFP pressure, but let me tell you, if you talk to a Jacksonville State fan, they believe, when you look at their schedule, that why can't we run the table in Conference USA, win conference, and be the CFP rep? So I think this is a massive game for them. A huge measuring stick game for North Dakota State. A lot of people, again, this last I checked, the Bison are favored 6.5 at home, which that might be one of my early picks for as far as just an underdog straight up type game, because with Creel coming back, with DeAndre Johnson on the outside, the offensive line pieces that they're returning, you just, I don't know. I really like Jack State, and I hope they, I want, as much as I want North Dakota State to have a great, inaugural game. Fargo Dome's going to be rocking. I think this is a massive game for Jack State, and quite frankly, want to put college football on notice.
Yeah, for both of them. You are right about that, because North Dakota State, even though they're moving up, like, everybody knows what North Dakota State's about.
Mm-hmm.
So if Jacksonville State goes up there and beats them, I mean, they'll move up in our poll. That's for sure, Jeff.
Absolutely. Well, and you look at, I don't have their schedule pulled up on here, but I have it on the side. Jacksonville State, if they are as good as I think we both believe they can be, they have a schedule that they can absolutely run the table on. Like, it's North Dakota State, it's Eastern Kentucky, at Ohio, Georgia Southern at home, Middle, at Kennesaw, FIU, at New Mexico State, Sam Houston, at Western, Missouri, at Delaware to finish the year. They could very well be a Conference USA champ. Let's give them a loss or two. I mean, if they're 1-loss Conference USA champ and you have a 2-loss or 3-loss American or maybe PAC champion, because both of those conferences, we talked about it on the previous shows, are very, very deep.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add the flex game in with the PAC situation. And let's say Boise, because they have to go, play Oregon. I think Texas State's going to be very good. Fresno's going to be very good. I don't think Boise just easily runs away with the PAC in year one. Mm-hmm. So 2, 3-loss PAC champion, whether it's Boise, somebody else, an American champion, and you have a 1-loss Jack State. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Some other games from week 0, Sac State, Eastern Michigan. I don't think either of them got any kind of pressure there. I mean, Sacramento State, a little. They want to come in, right, and prove that they belong, but that's about it. I'll tell you one that I think underrated. There's pressure. I think Hawaii's got some pressure to go win at Stanford.
Agreed.
How about Hawaii at Stanford on the Atlantic Coast Conference Network? Isn't that? I mean, what is that? What are we doing?
Oh, is that? I don't know.
It's on the ACC network.
You got to pay for that.
Not if you have
like
not if
regular
you have
regular cable?
regular ESPN.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah. You got the ACC network, the Big Ten network, and the SEC network. If we could only get a G6 network or something of the sort, wouldn't that be something? I think Hawaii's got some CFP expectations, Jeff. And you beat Stanford last year. You can't lose against one of the worst P4 teams in the country. You can't and expect to make a college football playoff. That's where I'm at with that. Like, if you want to, like, that's an example, right? So if Hawaii is a conference champion and this is their loss, and you mentioned Jacksonville State earlier, like, that's when Jacksonville State gets in. You lose to Stanford.
Yeah. Because they play, like we just said, they play UNLV the very next week at home. So let's say UNLV beats Memphis. They travel out to you, and you beat UNLV, and your only loss happens to be probably, I mean, it could be on the road at Arizona State. New Mexico at home is going to be tough. But yeah, you're a 1-loss, 2-loss Mountain West champ. I think this absolutely is a huge game for the CFP. You need to beat Stanford on the road. Have to.
Yeah, got to.
And they're capable.
Ain't no doubt. And they're not, I don't think they're favored. I think they're early dogs in this one by, I want to say 4.5, maybe 5.5. I can't remember. I was looking at it last night. Why are you looking that up? New Mexico State at Florida State. The problem here, Jeff, for New Mexico State is, like, Florida State has pressure to not just win that game.
Obliterate.
Yeah, and they might. They just might. So anyway, and then San Jose State at USC. I mean, I think sort of the same thing for USC, right? Like they got a lot of expectations, and San Jose State doesn't. I don't think.
No.
From the outside. So I think it could. There's potential for that one to go south for San Jose State, but and then those are the week 0 games. Which what a slate, by the way.
Incredible.
I mean, I almost like this because if you're not going to the game, there's only one game to watch each time slot. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have anything. You don't need to be flipping between CBS Sports and the Mountain West Network and then on your phone, ESPN Plus and all the things. Like you can just sit there, one game, have your popcorn, have your wings, have your beer, whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean,
and enjoy it and really, really watch and not box score watch and not, ticker at the bottom, watch the score, watch.
And we'll do deeper dives on matchups on Friday of this slate. But you get the appetizer, 2:00, San Jose State, get some football on. Then you get that Jacksonville State, North Dakota State at 4:30. These are Central times because I'm in Central time. Then you get Sac State at 5:30. And you get that Hawaii game at 6. And then we get the late night, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern time, Memphis at UNLV in Vegas. I mean, this is box office type stuff.
Jeff, and if you haven't been practicing staying up late on Saturdays, the college football gods did not do us any favors because you got, and normally too, no disrespect to Hawaii, normally the late game is not a banger like this. Normally it's like, okay, I'll watch it. Like it'll be Boise playing on FS1, but they'll be playing, I don't know. They won't be playing freaking UNLV or Memphis at midnight. But this one is like, oh man, I got to stay up. So can you compete? Can Matt Sprouse keep the eyes open until probably 2 a.m. on a Saturday night, Sunday morning?
I think you have no problem staying up. You're going to be so giddy and excited because football.
But the problem is I'm going to be up all night, every night this week. I'm so pumped.
Very true.
I'm so fired up. But anyway, some other teams that probably have some pressure. They don't play week 0, but probably got some pressure going in. Boise's won, right? I mean, they've got to perform week 1. They've got to perform all season. I think that fan base is a little bit anxious right now. I mean, I know in the CFP 2 years ago, but sort of underwhelmed last year. Yes, they won the conference, but they're in a new conference this year. Fans believe it's a better conference, a deeper conference. They've got to come in and perform, and they've got to, look what we've been saying. They've got to dominate. They got to quit leaving these games where even when they win, it just leaves a lot to be desired out there. So that's the pressure for them. I think they've got to come out firing immediately. And of course, week 1, they're in Autzen.
Yeah.
So.
And that team, Oregon, is going to be so good with who they're returning. A lot of upperclassmen. They're going to be big. They're going to be physical. And Oregon, you better believe that they want to make a statement in that week 1 matchup. And who better in their eyes and in the media's eyes to take down probably what most casual fans believe. And I would agree with it, but one of the top G6 programs in the country. So if they come out and just beat them by 3-4 touchdowns, that's the type of win they're going to want. And then there's no rest for Boise because Memphis comes to town right after they play UNLV. You get South Dakota as a break, and then you got to go on the road and play Western Michigan, who was a MAC champion from last year, favorite to repeat. Then you get Utah State at home, on the road in the Valley at Fresno State. You're on the road at Washington State, Texas State. That stretch right there, Fresno State, Washington State, Texas State. I mean, this is no cakewalk of a schedule. Even, you're in Fort Collins, Colorado State, and then you finish the year with Oregon State at home, and then San Diego State at home, which could be the, defining game before you get the flex matchup for Boise State season.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of programs that have a lot of expectations this year, really, Jeff. I mean, and Boise's the one, right? They always do. We already talked about Memphis. We already talked about UNLV. UTSA is one that's got pressure, and I don't think that they've got to necessarily be a playoff team, but I think they got to at least be a conference championship appearance for UTSA. I mean, I think that fan base expects that. You've had back-to-back underwhelming seasons. You're really good at home. You haven't been good on the road. I think they got to do something this year, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sorry, I was
And
trying
they
to
don't.
pull up
They
their
don't. Well,
schedule.
yeah, I'm looking at it. They don't really get a chance to ease into their season either. Either they get Rio Grande Valley, sure, week 1, but then they're at Texas State and then at Texas. Texas State's had their number, and that's going to piss off a lot of people if Texas State beats them again. Texas State appears to be going to be really good this year too. So UTSA's got to come out, and that's on the road where they have not played well. So you go there, you're probably going to have a tough time at Texas. So you come out there, start 0-2 on the road right away. Wouldn't be a good start for Jeff Traylor and company.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Finally got to pull it up here. Yeah, I mean, that Texas game's going to be massive. They also, Texas State opens up in Austin as well. So Texas has got they got a good little G6 slate, to be honest with you. But UTSA, they're due, right? They have not won the American. They got to figure out their road woes. But you get some great games in the Dome with South Florida, Navy, North Texas, Tulsa, who I'm high on. I picked them to win the American this year. I think they have the most continuity coming back. And Traylor, like I said, Traylor is due for a conference championship. But it's not an easy road at all. But if they win the American and let's say Texas is a loss, probably have a conference loss in there as well. That's 2. If you're a 3-loss UTSA champ, it depends, in my opinion, who is a conference champ in the G6 who has 1 loss. It's going to be down to those 2 teams more than likely, or a 1 or 2 loss UConn. Maybe,
but you got to have the conference champion though. One of them's got to be in.
Is that that a specific stipulation? Is it because Notre Dame doesn't get that?
No, but Notre Dame has a free pass. Yeah, so UConn. Now that would be the question, right? Like, what if UConn and Notre Dame are both good?
They're going Notre Dame.
Yeah, of course, but then could you argue like, well, why does Notre Dame? Why is it the top 5 conference champions and Notre Dame only, and why not? And UConn.
Yeah.
So
or you get a 1-loss MAC Western Michigan champ who's got to win over Boise.
Yeah.
Like, we may very well, with some of these schedule draws, you may have a 1-loss. Let's just say you have a 1-loss MAC champ. You got a 1-loss or 2-loss PAC champ. And then like a 1-loss, Conference USA, Jack State, or Liberty for that matter.
Well, that was who I was going to bring up next, Jeff. Liberty, man, they've got, so I was looking on the socials yesterday. They've got some fan coach back and forth going on the socials. Yeah. Well, our boy John from A Sea of Red, Liberty posted a play from camp and it was an interception, which that happens, right? But they edited it so you didn't see which quarterback threw the interception, which I get that too, right? You gotta keep that under wraps. And our boy John said, nice editing to remove the quarterback from this or something like that, right? And then Colton Korn, our other pal, was like, didn't see you there today or something like that. But then there was a little bit of back and forth of like, and then some of the other fans were chiming in saying like, why are you why are the coaches soft or why are they so? But what cures that, Jeff, is a whole bunch of wins.
That's right. And Liberty's about set up. If they can finally live up to, the expectations of their fan base over the last couple of years at JMU to kick off this season. What a week one.
Yeah.
Opener rivalry game. Gardner-Webb, Ball State, at Coastal, at Delaware. Sam Houston at home, at Kennesaw. FIU at home, at New Mexico. And then you get at MTSU at home, Western at home, and then at Missouri State to finish the year. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could have, because they don't play Jack State. They would play Jack State in the championship game if those are the two top teams.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you could have, with that schedule, very well a one-loss Liberty if they end up winning it. You could have Jack State coming out with maybe one loss. They're very manageable schedule. Like the last couple ones we've talked about, like none of them are at Ohio State and at Georgia on the same schedule. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff, and it could be, right? We sit here, there could be this. The reality of it is there could also be a whole, like a couple 10-2 teams, and we're like, they're not that good. Do we really want them in there? Yeah. So that's the reality of it is, and we cannot wait to see this thing kick off. But Jeff, we got a couple voicemails.
We do.
To end the show today. Make sure you call that hotline. I expect to see a voicemail from Joe and Steeple by Monday. You guys got 1 week. So I get it. Call after that Memphis game or call after that Jack State, North Dakota State game. 615-900-4286 is the hotline number. Call, you leave your voicemail. We'll play it on the air. If it's, what is it, 3-minute limit,
3-minute
Jeff?
Limit, yeah.
Or if you're new calling, keep it under 3 minutes. And then we'll be able to play it on the air.
Group of 5 guys, Josh Bevel here. Cool morning in Middle Georgia. Joking, it's hot as hell. But anyway, y'all got your Sun Belt preview coming up. Figured I'd give my little small Georgia Southern preview. Look, Murph, I get it. You're not high on the Eagles. That's okay. I love being doubted. The over on our wins is 4.5, which I think is criminal. But, look, I understand the defense was terrible last year. I think the defense is going to be much, much better this year than it was last year. Well, that is also not hard to do because we were the worst defense in the country last year. But anyway, you know who Chance Gamble is. Everybody knows who Chance Gamble is. There's a true freshman that I think is going to make a big impact in the safety room, and that's Chase Calicut. Remember the name, boys. He probably won't be in the group of 6 long, I tell you that much. But anyway, there's another guy to be on the lookout for, outside linebacker from Middle Tennessee, Anthony Bynum. Remember the name. I know you know the name, Murph. I know you know the name, Sprouse. In Statesboro now. Running back room is very, very underrated. Not a whole lot of guys you know. Some of the guys that are returning, Terrence Gibbs, David Badinga, but I'm telling you, they're underrated. The guy to look out for in the wide receiver room, of course, is Josh Dallas. I mean, Josh Dallas is an amazing player, unbelievable dude. But remember Ashton Hollins, transfer from Illinois. I'm telling you, remember that name. Tight end coming from WKU, River Helms. We had him last year. Injury occurred. We'll see. Hopefully we stay healthy, boys. Of course, you got Max Johnson at QB. But, boys, I'm telling you, take the over. I'm not a big optimistic as we're going to win the Sun Belt. We're going to do this. Look, I want that to happen. I want it. To be honest, an undefeated season is just probably not going to happen. But take the over on the win total, boys. I know you're gambling men. Just take the over. I'm predicting at least 7 wins this year. Maybe 8. Really? But at least 7 wins. Houston comes to town week 4. Boys, come to the Burrows. Sprouse, I know you're good for a game. We got to get Murph's butt to Statesboro. Fellas, I'm so excited for football season. God bless the group of 5. God bless the group of 5, guys. Hail Southern.
You know who's in mid-season form? Josh Bevel.
Josh Bevel. Well, and Jeff, he left that voicemail before our preview because you're higher on the Eagles than I am.
I know. I was after I was diving.
Diving into that roster. Jeff,
I like them. 4.5 too. FanDuel's got them at.
They've got Willie Fritz and Houston coming back. Willie Fritz coming back to Statesboro, I think week 3.
Upset alert.
Well, an upset alert would be, I wouldn't be upset if you went down to Statesboro for a game.
I mean, tough. That's week 3.
I think so. The travel is going to be tough this year, guys. Just for everybody listening, like we're going to try to do our best, but it's going to be a lot. We got a lot of new things in our lives, plus just the older the kids get, the more activities they got going. So it's going to be tough, but we'll make it work a couple times this year. We will do it. They did announce officially Max Johnson's QB1, I think, yesterday. I mean, I think everybody knew that was coming, but they did officially announce. What else we got, Jeff?
Last one.
The 5 guys. Addison Reed, Coastal Bumpers. Finally here. Season is on us. Can't be more excited. Entering a new era with Ryan Beard here at Coastal. A lot of changes. Things that were needed. Hopefully now we're going to be in a scheme that is our personnel more. We tried the air raid, that didn't work out. Went back to RPO spread thing. Ari Collier, he's on now. But this new revamped team, we have Rick Trino, coordinator, QB's coach. He's going to be one who's calling the offense. Going to be running more of a pro styles power spread type of deal. And our D-line coach, also the coordinator, Elton Scott, he's going to be running a 4-down lineman set. So probably going to be looking at a 4-2-5 or maybe a 4-3. But I think having that extra guy on the line is definitely going to help with pressure. That's something we seriously lack in the impact era. That he's down South Florida, their OC. But all in all, I think it's a good spot to be in because you're not expecting having crazy high expectations, but you're just looking forward to seeing what happens. And I think we might surprise some people. Nothing absurd, but I do think we'll surprise some people and have some off guard because of just them not knowing what we are and what we are on tape since this is a whole new regime, whole new team, great quarterback. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say when it comes to the Sun Belt on Friday. Make sure to listen in. Thanks for what you guys do covering the Sun Belt and the G5 in general, or G6. Shouts up.
Good to hear from you, Iverson.
2 Sun Belt calls. See, Joe? Joe's in the chat complaining that nobody's talking about the Sun Belt anymore. It's because we knew, first of all, we always talk about the Sun Belt. I mean, you got 2 Sun Belt calls, and it seems like we're going to get 2 Sun Belt calls again after the show. So, but appreciate you, Iverson. Yeah, Coastal, you know, we talked about it on the Sun Belt. Like some of the premier Sun Belt programs have sort of been down really last year. We'll see if they can climb back up there. Coastal, App, Georgia Southern, them back up competing with the James Madison and Old Dominions of the world, really.
Well, it's because you don't have, the Pickneys are no longer at Coastal. That's what right. It is. They were carrying not only that roster, but the fan base as well. So, what are they talking about in the chat?
I'm just reading the chat. Hey, look, appreciate you guys. Welcome back, everybody. It is officially week 0, game week, officially football season. If you like the show, make sure you follow on all the social platforms at Group of 5 Guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Believe Network, wherever you get your best podcast. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. Leave a comment. Tell your family and friends all about us. We will be back Wednesday morning with the official Group of 5 Guys top 25 power poll. I would dictate your entire week and life around what we say on Wednesday. Have a great week.